Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Morning Java. I'm CT, he is Dodd. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Saturday here in Lincoln County.
Yes, it is.
Good morning, everybody.
Good, happy day.
Broadcasting live from the Traveling East Productions studio, simulcasted on the good old KYRO, 1280 AM, 105.3 FM. Yay!
Hey, here we are. Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
How was your week?
Really wasn't too bad, man. It was it was a pretty fun week.
I saw you posted a few things. Some nice. You got the American bullpup there, and
Yeah.
and then that. I'm not gonna give you my description of what the other one looks like, but
You know what?
people like that, I guess.
They really do.
Because I saw somebody go, "Is this still available?" I was
Yep.
like, really?
They definitely do. Definitely have got some new stuff that's coming to the old Black Flag Outfitters this week. Got lots more coming. As we were getting ready, I saw that there's a bunch of stuff on Saturday sale.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna spend some more money here in a little bit. But I did get something really cool.
What'd you get?
So, a buddy of mine does some really cool 3D printing stuff.
Yeah.
He made 1911 stands.
Yeah.
So the stand holds the gun by the magazine, and then it holds 2 magazines with it, as well as 8 rounds of ammo just sitting on top. It looks fantastic.
I need one of those.
Yeah.
For the house.
Yeah.
Because wouldn't that be cool to have sitting just... Well, no, because... No, you got to figure out another way to hold it on there instead of by the magazine, because I want the magazine to be in it and
Right.
the gun in it.
Yeah, well, they work really
If
good.
they can mold it to where the handle fits in.
Where the handle fits in. I'll get with him. We'll make you one of those.
Because that'd be cool to have by the nightstand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
At
where-
night, it's right there.
Uh-huh.
Or by the on the coffee table while I'm watching TV, it's
Yeah.
right there to grab.
I thought it was really, really cool. So we're kind of branching out and doing some new fun
like that.
experimental stuff. One of the other things that we're kind of looking into this week, and it's one of those things that I'm like, do I really want to get into that again? Well, I might have bought a 4-axis CNC machine.
Okay.
So that way we can just make stuff.
Okay.
Like those magic receivers that are incredibly hard to get. Because when I had a 07 manufacturing license before, and I went ahead and got a 07 again this time so I can build stuff like from a pile of metal. And we were talking about it yesterday, and then next thing you know, there's one for sale. Next thing you know, I'm looking at one, and
Where are you going to put that?
well, that's not at the shop.
No, well, no, of course not.
No, but I've got a fantastic place for it. So that may
Well,
be
Common Grounds isn't using that, conference room.
Yeah, and that's going to be a negative there, Ghost Rider, but thank you.
But that's cool because you can run that from the laptop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, a big thank you to our sponsors, the people that make these shows happen. Safe Harbor Insurance in Winfield. Give them a call today, 636-578-7426. Dave and Holly, they are independent, and they will find you the best deal possible. World League Wrestling, the house that Harley Race built. Tonight, doors open at 6. Bell time is 7. It's the Summer Sizzler, and it's going to be, we end the night with a huge rumble.
That's going to be awesome, dude.
It's going to be big fun. Doors open at 6. Bell time is at 7 in Troy. So, well, you can't, don't bother going to the door, because if you haven't got your tickets, you're not getting in. It is sold out.
What a beautiful night for a show, man.
It's going to be great.
I mean, I was out last night. It got down in the 50s. It was fantastic.
Beautiful, wasn't it?
It was cool this
The
morning.
last couple of days, the last few days have been nice.
I know, our high today is like 78 degrees, man.
Original Crow Feather Crystal Healing Jewelry. Want to thank them. And, of course, our good buddy Phil Mallon, our Canadian foreign correspondent. Elliott Flooring in Troy. always with us, always by our side, has been from the very beginning. We appreciate them. 406 South Lincoln Drive, 636-528-6334. I believe they are open till 2 o'clock today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, alrighty. Black Flag Outfitters, of course, in Winfield. You got to get over there and see them. Blue Line Lawn Care. Get yourself a free quote today, 636-262-9486. It's Blue Line Lawn Care and Landscaping. Now, when I say and landscaping, I mean they'll trim your hedges. They'll build you a retaining wall. Whatever it is you need, they will take care of it for you. And they've done large projects, too.
Yeah, they have.
So give them a call. And last, certainly not least, Pickle on the Run.
Ba-boom.
So there you have that.
Nice.
Yeah. It makes me thrilled and happy and so on and so forth. And I have not got this all up and running yet over here. I want to make sure I do that. And there's that. There we go. All right, now we're on. Hey, Frank Partle over there. Good morning, sir. Good to see you. I see Frank over there on the Book of Faces watching us. Yeah, so welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us. So we haven't had a chance to talk about it on this show yet, but we'll just go ahead and kick off with a little local stuff right quick. We just had the primary in which we did the live coverage and simulcasted over to KYRO. Joining us also that evening from the KYRO Gateway Fiber Studio, ta-da, all the way across the hall from us, John Shepard and Sarge Phillips joining us. Big fun, and that was really nice to have them. Took a lot of pressure off of us.
That was a lot of fun.
And thank you to Trax Pizza for feeding us that evening, and also and the rest of our sponsors. Alternative Automotive.
Yes.
Trax Pizza, 636cars.com, Elliott Flooring, Country State of Mind Designs. I'm sitting here trying to remember, and I've got the entire list right here. I'm a dummy. Elliott Flooring, Country State of Mind Design, Smokin' Butts Barbecue, BBQ.com, I should say. Boyer Academy, good old Matt Boyer and his family over there.
Absolutely.
Common Grounds Coffee House over there in Winfield, 636cars.com, and Alternative Automotive.
Yes.
Thank you to all of them for making that possible. In that primary, we saw a few things happen. Kehoe, of course, took the lead.
Yes.
For the Republicans in that primary. Cori Bush, gone. That's going to be a done deal.
Very gone.
And she had a complete meltdown.
Yeah, she did. That was fantastic.
Let's be clear. Clear.
That was annoying.
Oh, what did it though?
I just wanted her to stop talking. I was like, whoa.
Prop fire. Old Monroe failed, as it should have.
Most of the props failed.
Yes.
Which I guess people have finally got broke enough to go.
Where'd we end up in that Warren County one? Did that?
I believe it failed.
That one failed too. Of course, we went off the air at 10 o'clock that evening, but we had to wait for the St. Charles numbers to come in to really get the ending on that. And it did fail. They needed, 57%, 57 point whatever?
Yeah.
And it failed by 30 votes or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
John can tell you the exact number. And then earlier this week, just a day or so ago, was another in the Troy, one of the Troy, We Love Troy pages. There was a post about it, and I guess who was going for another one? Was it Lincoln? Who's going for another one or trying to?
I'm not sure who was going for another one.
Somebody was. Somebody's planning to. I guess what it was about, and of course you're going to have firemen on there defending it. You're going to have citizens saying no, And you're going to have other citizens saying, well, yeah, we have to support them. We have to give them the money, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay. Here's the thing. We don't have the money.
Nope.
All right? The citizens are taxed enough as it is, overtaxed.
Yeah.
Your need for it does not outweigh our ability to give it to you. We don't have that ability. It's just not there in our budgets. Because here's the thing. You're given a budget. You make a budget. Stay on your budget. You expect us to stay on our budgets. You need to stay on your budget as well. I cannot go to my boss, okay, and say, I need more money because my truck is breaking down, or my truck is old, and my house is old. I need a new house and a new truck. I can't go to my boss and do that. So why should you be able to come to me and say, I need a new firehouse, or I need new trucks, so I need more money from you? It doesn't work that way.
And it's one of those that a lot of times they no matter if it's
just keep fixing it.
whatever, or the other side to the whole giant thing is a lot of times a fake need is created.
Well, and we've seen that. We've called it out.
We've called it out a lot of times with a lot of different places over the last 5 years where they create a need and then they're like, oh my gosh, we got to have this. But do you? Do you really?
Yeah.
Because as your budget increases, my personal budget decreases.
Correct.
So, no.
We
Just
had
no.
We had a couple of letters that came in that we were able to get out there on video for folks to see, and you guys responded to them very, very well, and we're really happy to see that. If you have something that you need to get off your chest, if you have some information that you think people should know, I don't care if it's about your city, your township here, or the county itself, or an entity within the county, it doesn't matter. I want you to email us, info@travelingeastproductions.com. info@travelingeastproductions.com, and you will remain anonymous.
Yeah.
If you so choose. That's not a problem.
No, not even a little bit, because I think there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of stuff to say, but they don't know what the platform is.
Right.
Well, I can tell you the platform is probably not the newspaper. The platform is real media that has more than just ads, which is us,
believe me, the radio and
Yep.
and Traveling East Productions video broadcasts get out there a lot farther.
big time.
So there's that. I don't know of anything else. Beck won his bid.
He did.
Over Alsbury. Well done, folks in Lincoln County on that one.
Yeah, that was a great call.
Keeping Alsbury out of there, I think, was a very important thing to do. And I forgot to mute my phone, apparently,
Oh, no.
because I'm a weirdo. Oh, hey, look at that. Traveling East Productions started a live.
Oh, that's
On
crazy.
Rumble.
Did they really? We should
Yeah,
go watch it.
We should go watch it. So
Oh, that's funny.
So, and you guys decided that you needed Mueller and Matt and Bass back in as commissioners because, you didn't complain enough about what they were doing before, so you decided to put them back in there expecting it to change by doing the same thing over and over. Hey, guess what? You're insane. All right, there's that.
That's pretty fair.
So, I can't remember anything else. Oh, Bailey, I think, won.
Yeah. Bailey won.
Which I'm happy for because that man is on fire.
Bailey won. Holly was unopposed. It was pretty good.
I think, is there anything else I'm forgetting? Can you think of?
Not really.
Yeah, I can't either. So, yeah. So I guess let's dig into some fun stuff. Yeah?
All right, let's go down the dark path.
Should we go ahead and start off with the VP pick?
Before we do that, let's tell people to go down and visit the farmer's market.
Well, there's that. Yeah, sure.
Just before it gets late.
Yeah.
Down across the street from my gun shop right on Highway 79 is the Farmers Market in Winfield this week. I drove by this morning.
Oh, they're doing it there again?
Yeah.
Is that going to be like a permanent thing now?
I don't know.
Or are they going back to the fairgrounds?
But that's the best spot to have it.
I would agree. Why wouldn't you have it there, right there on Main Street where you could be seen? Mm-hmm. And then the businesses that are there, like TNT and Black Flag and Common Grounds, can all benefit from it.
Right.
And those customers that go there will go across the street to the...
Exactly.
It's symbiotic, man.
So there's a bunch of tents already set up. I went by a little after 8 this morning. There's a bunch of tents already set up. It's a great day for it. It's not going to be blazing hot. Go down there and go check it out. It goes on until 2 o'clock today. Okay. That's the Winfield Farmers Market right there on 79 in downtown Winfield. Go have some fun with that.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day to get out and go to the market.
It really is.
And get some coffee and get yourself some extra ammo. So, yeah, and you do it all. How about that? You can do all of that in one trip. Oh, and get yourself a great sandwich. I had a mushroom burger over there the other day, mushroom Swiss burger.
Oh.
And that was pretty good. Their fries are really good.
Their fries are really good.
Not good for me and my stomach, but,
But they taste good.
Well, they're good for my stomach. They're just not good for my weight. There we go. My caloric and carb intake is shot to hell going over there. Real quick, too, I want to announce, stay tuned tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock here on the Traveling East Productions Network and KYRO. We will be video casting Uncensored Wrestling Talk. And I believe Sarge's guest tomorrow on that is Big Jack Parker, who will be in the Rumble tonight at World League Wrestling.
That should be really cool.
And if you haven't seen Big Jack, you better hope he wins, because if not, tomorrow morning, that is going to be one angry, large man. So, there's that. Take the reins, sir.
Okay. So, let's see. It's been an interesting week. We've talked a lot about, or I should say the news has been running this week on this fantastic, just unbelievable, wonderful VP pick. Boy, I'll tell you what, Waltz has really turned out to be a great one. There's left, and then a little bit further past left is this guy. He is way, way out there. Now, keeping that in mind, remember that Harris was voted the most left member of the House or of the Senate of all time.
Yeah.
100 out of 100 talking points. So she picked someone who is equally as far left as her. If you remember, this guy was the governor of Minnesota when the George Floyd riots were going on.
Correct.
And he waited like 5 or 7 days before he had the National Guard come into downtown. He's definitely been a big proponent of the redistribution of wealth and the rage game that has been played with those groups of protesters or rioters, we should say. And you have to look at it as they were rioting and things of that nature were happening. You had Soros-backed Harris, who was ensuring nobody stayed in jail very long. So when you put all this together, what you have is two over-the-top neo-Marxists, because that's truly what they are. Every time she talks about her moving past the past and looking forward to the future, that comes directly from Mao. No question about it. That is some Mao phrasing. So if you're curious what these people are, I don't care about the little side details that people look at it as they were rioting and things that people are.
Well,
that's a problem.
I have no idea.
Look at it as they were rioting and things that people. You have to look at it as they were rioting and.
I apologize. I have no idea what that was.
Well, that was weird.
Pops up. My bad.
Anyway.
Sorry.
It's all right. So as they were doing their things, It's not a matter of what you've caught this weirdo governor doing, etc., etc. It's actually a matter of what his policy is. I don't really care a whole lot about a lot of other things because his policy should speak for itself. Everybody's losing their mind over his other escapades when they really need to look at his actual policy. His actual policy makes him a Maoist candidate. That's an issue. Running with someone insane like Kamala Harris. This is a huge, huge issue. I was scrolling the other night, and sometimes you find some of the best insight into some news is to see what's bouncing around on the TikTok. So I found a few of these people that were doing lives supporting their girl Kamala. Now here's a couple of interesting takeaways. They couldn't talk about anything that she has successfully carried out as a senator or as a governor. Or, I'm sorry, as a senator or as the vice president. They couldn't even talk about any reason to vote for her except for the part where she's a chick and she's black. One of those being true. Anyway.
Oh, but you can't call her a DEI hire.
Oh, she is 1,000%.
Oh, I know, but you can't call her that.
Well, you know the best way to tell if somebody's a DEI hire or not? If they suck at their job.
That's one of the...
That's typically like a key giveaway. Which is the reason that the Secret Service is inept. The FBI doesn't work. The DOJ is garbage. But, I guess keep going. Let's go ahead and elect that top office. It's very weird to me listening to people who fully support this redistribution of wealth idea, who fully support the absolute disregard for the Constitution, which your boy Waltz has come out and basically said the First Amendment needs to go, and Kamala has already said she will executive order gun control.
Which is exactly what we've been saying.
Right.
You take out the second, the rest of them follow.
So the two of them together are an absolute nightmare, without any doubt. We are seeing the results of the destruction of the First Amendment right now in the UK. Now, I know nobody here likes world news, but guess what? Here it is. Get ready, because this is relevant. Currently in Great Britain, the people of Great Britain have had enough of the British government. I watched videos yesterday of about 10,000 people calling for the deposition of the king. That's a pretty big deal.
That's a big deal. And now they're threatening the citizens.
Well, apparently they've made over 400 arrests in 2 days. And are you ready? So here's the interesting thing. You had a... what was the term they used for him? Oh, yes, a migrant.
A what?
You had a migrant, if that's what you want to call them. I prefer to call them invaders. But you had one of them that went out, and he got 18 months in jail for raping children.
Yes.
And then you had a guy who said bad things on the internet, and he got 2 years in Blackgate Prison. The other guy got 180 hours of community service. So right now you've got two groups of people, three groups actually, that are battling it out across the entirety of the United Kingdom. And these two groups are, you have the invaders, who obviously are just doing their craziness. You have the invader sympathizers, which is basically the British government. Mm-hmm. And then you have the people of Great Britain who have had enough. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since there was smoke pouring out of downtown London, and I got to watch that on a drone last night.
I've seen some footage. It's nasty.
Yeah, Great Britain is about to explode. Ireland is moving very closely along with it. Poland has authorized deadly force for anybody trying to enter the country illegally across their border for the same reason, and that has nothing to do with their issue with Russia right now. And then you have Germany, and they have got a guy in Germany who said something very important. And what he said is, the invaders got a new home, and we lost ours. Mm-hmm. He's not wrong.
It's valid.
You're talking about a region that has an extremely fantastic, long history of lots of things. This effect that you're seeing right now in Europe is the same effect that the Ottoman Empire pushed for. The only difference is the Ottoman Empire was defeated from entering Europe by both Charles the Hammer to the south and Vlad the Impaler to the north. The problem you now have is history will tell you the story of two governments that chose to be invaded voluntarily. That's an issue. It's the same issue that we now face. The difference is those are much smaller countries.
Well, when you open yourself up to these people and say, oh, come on in, it's okay, you asked for it.
Correct.
We've done that. Europe has done that.
Yeah. But the biggest part of it that we see is the people of Great Britain are not a fan of any of this. Like, you don't get 100,000 people in the street because there's a few people that are upset.
Yeah, that's true. But you look at the population, but here's the thing, too.
Yep.
On the flip side of that, there's a huge part of Europe that is fine with migrants. They think they should. They're so socialist that they believe that it's okay. They're doing no harm.
Well, and what is really interesting to me...
And we have that here. Matter of fact, your entire regime right now in the White House is that way.
Well, and that's actually where I was going with it. Because I watched a guy, he was doing a man on the street style interview in about 5 different countries. So you've got the parliaments of the countries saying, oh, open our borders, bring everybody in. But you do a man on the street and it's 100% different. And the opinion for the vast majority of man on the street is, don't these people have their own country? Why are they changing the face of our country? This is our country.
I mean, you left yours for a reason, but you're coming over here trying to recreate that reason.
Correct.
This is no different than St. Charles moving out here or St. Louis moving out here. You're trying to recreate what you were leaving behind.
Exactly. Big time. It's kind of weird.
And voting in somebody like Kamala Harris and Walz is going to just further that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you let them take away your First Amendment and your Second Amendment rights,
then congrats, you become England.
You just became, Here, welcome to a larger version of Germany with a hell of a lot more power.
Yeah,
and control.
I saw a fantastic meme yesterday. And I know you're an anti-memer, but this one was pretty great.
Not really.
No,
it depends on the meme.
Well, this one was pretty good. It was the painting of Baldwin the First.
Okay.
King of Jerusalem, who wore the who wore the mask because he had leprosy.
Yeah.
And it says,
it's a great film on that too.
Yes.
By the way.
And it said, Europe, stop it, make your ancestors proud.
Yeah.
Just in case you want me to go do some live corresponding, I'll be joining the Holy Empire and the Great Crusade. I'll see you later.
Dig it.
Broadcasting live from the Crusade.
Dig it. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe we could finally take Europe some spices so they could figure out how to cook food.
God, and they defend their food so much.
And it's so bad.
I just don't get it.
Let's dump some beans on some bread and call it breakfast.
It's terrible.
Ugh. Disgusting.
Their food is just absolutely horrible.
Well, what we were talking about it on Not Politically Correct. We're like, wait a minute. These guys did all this stuff to protect the spice trade. What are they doing with the spice? Because they're not using it.
I don't know. Because the greatest food that they have over there that they cook, what they're well known for is actually French cuisine.
Exactly.
I mean, who boils a roast?
Psychopaths.
Psychopaths.
Yeah, that's it.
People in the UK. Now, I'm going to give them credit for a couple of things. I do like smashed peas. I do like beans on toast. And I love a full English breakfast.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? There's a couple of things.
I can get behind that.
Bangers and mash,
Yeah, it's fine.
pretty good. The rest of your food, crap.
I'll give you fish and chips.
Okay, fish and chips, yes.
Because that's like fried stuff, so I'm like,
Oh, it's
yeah.
fantastic.
As long as you fry it, it'll be all right.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, getting back to Walls,
Yeah, man.
there's a whole thing going back and forth between him and the Republican VP Vance, or VP to be Vance. And it's funny because they're comparing. It started off with Vance going talking about the lack thereof of Waltz's, because Waltz tried to say he was in combat. Oh, he carried this rifle in combat, type of thing, and Vance is going, "You were never in combat. You left your unit before they went to combat."
Yep.
And then there was this whole thing about stolen valor, and by definition, and we'll get into that in just a minute, but it doesn't really matter at this point. And it's very interesting, the timeline of events for Waltz, because in February of 2005, while he was still in the National Guard, he filed to run for Congress. 1 month later, in March, the National Guard announced that there was a possibility that they might be deployed within 2 years. So, what does he do? He
What's he
announces
do?
his retire, or he goes in and files for his retirement. 2 months later, he retires in May of 2005. July of 2005, his unit was deployed. So,
Okay.
that timeline, because their argument is, well, you know, long before they were deployed, you have to put in for your retirement long before that. Okay, I'll give you that. But that doesn't work with the timeline, because he didn't put in for his retirement until it was announced that they may be deployed. So there's the key.
Right.
He
If
heard,
he- if
I
he
may
would've
be
put it in-
deployed. I'm going to go ahead and put in my retirement.
If he would have put in for his retirement at the same time
Before that.
or when he announced he was running for Congress,
Correct.
then it would have been, okay, that makes sense.
Because we were looking at things, and I looked at it the same way you did, was on the timeline was, okay, when did he win?
Right.
Because if he had won a seat in Congress while in the National Guard, then it's a done deal.
Yes.
But that doesn't happen. He's not elected until it would be November. Way later. So it has nothing to do with that. Even if he filed for his retirement in February, and they didn't announce the possibility of deployment until then, by rank, he would have already known that anyways.
Yeah.
Because you know how things are in the military. You're going to know, and you're going to hear scuttlebutt, hey, we're probably going to get deployed, before they even announce that you may get deployed. So I'm not buying into that whole thing. I'm just not going to.
No. No, I don't buy anything out of this guy.
So I found that to be quite interesting. But you go back to, let's go back to Minnesota for a minute in talking about Walls. I can't remember his name for some reason. Walls. While over there, this is the guy who put tampons in the boys' bathrooms, who allowed the city to burn while his the woman that he seeks to serve as VP to pushed for it to burn.
Yep.
This guy is and then there's the whole transgender thing. He made it a safe haven for kids to go get treatment to become or to try to become from a man to a woman.
Yeah, it was some pretty nutty stuff.
He's just this guy. Your comment earlier that there's left and then there's Walls,
Yeah.
who is way to the left.
Yeah, he takes the cake.
He's so far left, he ain't right at all.
No, not even slightly. I mean, just his generalized comments relating to his opinion of the First Amendment should be enough to disqualify him from even being able to run for office. Without question.
And then he comes around holding a sign that he's an enduring freedom veteran.
Weird.
Your unit is, but you're not.
Very weird stuff. This one has really sealed the deal on the clown show.
Oh.
And
but the problem is the left is so blind and such sheep, they don't care. Facts mean absolutely nothing. The only thing is fact is what comes out of Kamala's mouth. Which is, yeah.
Yeah.
But now she's just joyful.
It's weird.
So, whatever.
She freaks me out. Just general, overall, there's sometimes you see very poor candidates, and then sometimes you see super poor candidates. These two fall into that category. I mean, they are everything that the alt-left has dreamed of. Excuse me.
I just don't know, man. It's crazy.
It's definitely a little on the, just generally on the wild side.
What else you got? Anything good? Oh,
What?
the Olympics. I told you this one earlier, and I saw you lose your mind.
This is the dumbest crap I've ever heard.
Oh my goodness! So we've already heard everything that's coming out of the Olympics. They went so green that people couldn't have the proteins and the carbs that they needed to perform, in the sports. We've got rooms with no air conditioning. We've got beds that are green that are just uncomfortable. They can't sleep in. It's an insane situation that they created. This is the worst Olympics ever.
Yes.
Ever. Like, I would have rather slept on the beds that were prepared for the Olympians back in Greece in the original Olympian Games.
Oh, yes.
Than I would this stuff. Because at least the food was good. And wine.
Fair.
Now, not just that. We have women, or we have men competing as women. We have just so much crap going on in these Olympics. It's insane. We have events that are considered sports that I don't understand why they're considered sports. I don't get it. They shouldn't be in the Olympics.
It's some of the weirdest.
Pretty soon they're going to let these kids play video games in the Olympics and call it a sport. Watch. I guarantee you it's going to happen. But not to mention, the Olympic Committee is so woke. This came out of the chairman's mouth. He said, there is no scientifically solid system to identify men from women. Let that sink in a minute, folks.
Yeah.
And yet you don't care. You will sit there and turn on those Olympics because you want to see your whatever running and whatever sport it happens to be.
Apparently viewership has been hit worldwide very hard.
Has it?
Unbelievably.
Good. I hope
Yeah.
so. You know what else has been hit unbelievably?
What?
Because of wokeness? Have you seen the videos from Sturgis?
Yeah.
Harley Davidson is vacant. Like, there is nobody going into the Harley-Davidson area.
No. Not at all. They're done with it.
They have been boycotted hard.
Yeah.
And I am so proud. So proud of the biker community.
Yeah. Indian makes a fantastic bike.
Oh, there's a lot of great bikes out there.
My brother Philip has got a 4-year-old Indian.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's the old style. Mm-hmm. And just the price difference.
The Scout or the Chief?
He's got the Scout. It is fantastic. Just fantastic. So I'm like, yeah, I get it. And a few years ago, Harley-Davidson tried to release something called the Iron Series.
Yeah.
Cool bike. But it still started out at like $15,000. Okay, cool if you're into that. Or you can get the really fantastic Indian that is truly an American-made bike that is pretty fantastic for half of that price. And has a really cool history as well. And they haven't gone woke.
You know what I'd like to see?
What?
I'd like to see somebody revive the Triumph brand.
That'd be pretty cool.
Those first drag bikes were Triumph 650s.
Yeah. That would actually be super cool. Scary as crap, but super cool.
I'm not drag stripping. No. Now, I did in my 67 Barracuda, but I'm not doing it on a motorcycle.
No, thank you. So speaking of autos, did you see that 2,450 plant workers got laid off in Warren, Michigan after Dodge decided to discontinue the Ram truck?
They're discontinuing the
Yep.
Ram truck?
It's not green enough. Most popular truck. Yeah. Yep. That was breaking news yesterday.
Actually, the Chevy just got the truck of the year. But yeah,
Well, I'm sure they did.
and I've always been a Dodge guy myself. I've been a Mopar freak forever. Mm-hmm. Man,
Yep. They had to off the old Ram. It's been around a long, long time.
so ridiculous.
I'm not surprised Chevrolet got truck of the year because Ford took all their money and shoved it into the F-150 Lightning, which is a garbage pile of nothing.
Well, who made that EV truck that's so popular? Looks like I don't know what it looks like.
The crazy looking
Yeah.
stainless steel one?
Yeah.
That's Tesla.
Was that a Tesla?
Yeah, that's the Cybertruck by Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you call that a truck.
Yeah. I have no idea.
You know how woke Hollywood has become? I found it very entertaining. One of the most popular stars in Hollywood, Jenna Ortega, who played Wednesday Addams
Yeah.
in the series Wednesday, she actually pulled out and said political correctness causes people to lose humanity and integrity.
Well,
That comes from someone in Hollywood. How about that?
she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong, and I believe that is the idea of wokeness, is to lead you to the communist socialist idea. By the way, if you have a chance, I've been reading a book. If you're not really sure about the whole how communism works thing, or I should say doesn't work, then there's a book called Unhuman. Find it on Amazon. It's paper, hard, or digital download. Fantastic book that tells you the story of countries in communism. It's very, very, very good.
I don't think I've read that. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I haven't read that.
Well, you should get a copy. It's fantastic. So there was some breaking news.
Jess.
Oh, the Secret Service is in the news again.
Oh, is this the one about the cameras?
Yep.
Yeah, go for it.
Breaking news, U.S. Secret Service breaks into a Massachusetts hair salon and tapes over their security cameras, allegedly to let people use the bathroom during a Harris fundraiser.
Yeah.
Does anybody buy that story?
No,
No.
I don't.
No.
No, I'm good.
I thought it was pretty nutbags when I read it. I was like, wait, what? That's kind of weird.
Indeed.
Which at this point, most of these things are pretty just crazy. Crazy stories. And they make me keep going, what is that?
The Secret Service
Yeah.
has been a joke for quite a long time.
Yes.
They have managed to. I find it funny, even in movies and television shows, how they're poked fun at. That just makes me laugh.
It's pretty funny. They're not real good at what they do. And they seem to be getting much, much worse.
Indeed.
Yeah, man.
Did you see that they were going after Stephen King?
Well, I'm sure he did something to earn it.
Oh, dude.
What did that idiot do this time?
Well, he's one of them that's pushing the narrative that Trump doesn't want to be photographed with amputee veterans.
Are we back to this again?
Yeah. So he's now pushing it, I guess. There was a COVID fund scam too.
Oh.
Did you see that one?
No, I didn't
I
see
just
that.
noticed it.
No.
Apparently this happened in Minnesota
Oh.
under Tim Walz.
No, surely not.
So apparently when the government was handing out COVID money,
Yeah.
one of the biggest ones they're saying happened in Minnesota. If you watched Jesse Waters,
Yeah.
apparently he did this whole breakdown of it. About how they scammed Minnesota out of $250 million,
Holy crap.
used it to buy cars and luxury items, and some of the money even went overseas.
What? How? Like, did nobody have any control over this, or what?
So when Walz realized what had happened, because this happened under him, he wasn't part of it, but it happened under him. When it happened and he tried to speak out about it, he was called a racist, so he just shut up.
Wow.
And apparently the feds actually caught on, prosecuted the scammers, but by then it was too late. So instead of fighting on about it, he just clammed up and shut up.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had not heard that one.
And it was Somalian fraudsters. So $250 million for Somalia, basically.
I'm sure that was used for humanitarian things.
Oh, in Somalia? Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Wow.
It is regarded as the single largest COVID scam in American history.
That's the one where the juror got the pile of cash dropped off at their house when they were in deliberation.
It's possible.
I remember the story now.
So $160,000 of it was wired to China. $500,000 was sent to Kenya for a lavish apartment. Elon Omar
Uh-huh.
took even took donations from those people. So some of that money ended up in her donations probably.
So it got filtered back around.
Correct. Walls knew it was a scam. He froze the funds, but when the fraudsters, the Somalians, cried racism, he caved in. And he let them loot it all. All of this to try and save his political career instead of being called a racist.
That's pretty ridiculous.
One of the guys who committed the fraud was actually honored with an Outstanding Refugee Award from Minnesota.
Wow. Huh.
This is your VP pick for
That's terrible.
for these fools over there on the leftist.
Some of the stuff that we keep finding out about Walls and Harris are just so unbelievable that you're like, wait, there's no way that's real. And then somebody does an entire expose on it, and you're like, oh, crap, it's real.
Right, it's real. Oh,
Sorry, I had to stop and drink half a can of Monster to get through that. Good grief.
it's insane.
Wow. Absolutely nutty. Hey, I'll tell you what's not nutty. Do you know what's not nutty? Well, it is kind of nutty, because if you've ever seen a full-grown...
Mounds.
What?
Mounds. Because Almond Joy's got nuts. Mounds don't.
Are you sure we can identify them properly that way?
Well, there's no scientific way of... I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Now I want some, thanks.
Yeah.
Man, that would jack my blood sugar so bad, but boy, it sounds so good.
Right?
What's totally nuts is a bald man drinking candles. That bald man is not me. I don't drink candles. But if you want to see a bald man drink candles and kick over a coffee, then we'd like you to go over and see our friends over at Elliott Flooring. Go see Ken Elliott and his crew. They are hanging out at Elliott Flooring in Troy, 406 South Lincoln Drive. They're there until 2 o'clock today, and they have the best in-floor coverings. Hardwood, tile, linoleum, vinyl, peel and stick, duct tape, saran wrap, whatever it is you want, they're happy to put it on your floor. As long as you got the money, they got the time, and they will put it down. Go over and see them. They also do countertops and backsplashes. They could be absolutely beautiful, or they could be made out of old tires if that's what you're into.
Who knows?
Whatever you want, go see them. Our friends that are so cool over there at Elliott Flooring in Troy. Go say hi to them and see what is up.
At this time, we're going to send our friends over at KYRO off to their top of the hour news break, but we're going to continue right here on video. It's Traveling East. All right. Bye-bye, KYRO. Hello, friends over on the video.
Hello, video
We
friends.
are still here with you. Now,
Yes, sir.
apparently, and I didn't see this last night in the news, but apparently some emergency trucks were blocking off the entrances to the White House. Some kind of a suspicious item.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, there wasn't anything to the story other than it happened. There was no details whatsoever.
None.
I wonder what the suspicious item was. Do you think it was Hunter's bag of cocaine or what?
Could have been.
Biden needed to wake up, so they coked him again?
It's possible. Who knows? Apparently, Ukraine ambushed folks in Kursk, region of Russia,
Yeah.
and Russia declared a federal emergency. So now the Ukraine is going into Russian territory?
Yep.
And that's what your federal funds are being used for.
There's something I would advise strongly against.
Yeah, because now I feel like Putin's just been playing with you. Now you push the red button. You know what I'm saying?
Not a good idea. No matter what you think the idea is, remember the world doesn't support you anymore, Ukraine. There's a couple countries that are backing you, but not like there was.
No.
Because the rest of Europe's on fire. They don't have time to deal with you.
They don't have time. France, England,
Nope.
Ireland.
Spain is going crazy. You saw
Not to
that.
mention, and then you've got to not to mention the changing attitudes in places like Australia and New Zealand since COVID, and forced inoculations and stuff. You know,
Oh,
people's brain, people are changing their views. Canadians are changing their views.
Did you see that the chick who was in charge of really pushing the COVID lockdowns and other COVID things in Australia, she was the one who helped write the legislation for how the fining and the imprisonment, things like that, would be set up if you didn't obey? She had a stroke and died.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she was like 40. Huh. Weird. Wonder how that happened.
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
Weird.
But with that, it is the top of the hour,
Yeah.
and I have my earplug in
Oh, yes.
because it is now time to go over and talk with our good buddy over in the great white north. Phil, how are you, sir?
All right, how you guys doing today?
Oh, fair to partly cloudy.
Yeah, about the same here. And that, so we've been having an interesting week here as well. Remember last week I was talking about that father and son that were arrested because of plotting a terrorist attack?
Yes.
Well, apparently more has come out. The father is a member of ISIS. He came to Canada and he was granted Canadian status. But what has come out now, which is very interesting, is that apparently there's an ISIS video of the father torturing and an ISIS prisoner. Apparently the prisoner was tied to a makeshift cross, and what is it? The father apparently cut off with a sword the prisoner's both hands and both feet.
Wow.
Oh.
And now there's a real outcry coming out from Canadians and also the opposition party, the Progressive Conservatives, demanding there should be an inquiry. How did this father and son get into Canada without being screened? Because they should not have been allowed into Canada if they found out that they were members of a terrorist organization. And which a lot of people are saying, well, okay, if these two are here from ISIS, how many more, terrorists are here in Canada as status, immigrant status or Canadian status from that belong to ISIS or even any other terrorist groups?
Wow.
And, a lot of stuff that's happening is because, the federal government's allowing all these illegal immigrants into Canada. There's a lot of crimes that are happening that prove that it's these illegal immigrants that are doing it. Like here in Ontario, we have the LCBO, which is Liquor Control Board of Ontario, where like the liquor store. And apparently a lot of these illegal immigrants are just walking into the liquor stores, stealing a lot of alcohol, liquor, putting them in grocery carts and just walking out the door without paying, and they're just letting them do it. And a lot of and a lot of Canadians are complaining, and like apparently there's proof that a lot of these carjackings and that are happening are being done by illegal immigrants too.
Mm.
And then another thing that came out this week was apparently there's proof now too is that the federal government is you can get like these immigrants can get a visitor's visa for like $7, and there's proof coming out now that these visas are being bought up by drug cartel members who are coming into Canada, getting these visas, and then they're crossing over into the States. And that, so
Well, that is just kind of nutty.
it is, and that really concerns me because after like you guys were talking about what's happening in the UK and Britain and Europe and that with the the Canadian citizens fighting back, and now like you were talking about how some of these citizens are being arrested when they make comments on social media about like criticizing the government or criticizing the police force and all that, and like complaining about these illegal immigrants and they're getting arrested. What hasn't happened yet, but I've mentioned it before about the um, online harms bill that Trudeau wants to pass. So that's a crystal ball looking at what we can expect here if it gets passed. Like you criticize or make a comment or something, the police can come and arrest you, or the RCMP can come and arrest you, and you can serve like up to 10 years or even more, and pay up to $250,000 fine if they pass it.
Wow.
Who's got $250,000?
Not everyone's homeless, so you know, yeah, we're all poor here now because of all the taxes and that Trudeau has implemented on us all, right? So
Pretty much. I mean, it seems to be a large scale problem both in the United States, Canada, and certainly within the European Union, because it's funny you mentioned taxes. That's one of the big things that, as I was watching different articles and things of that nature coming out of the UK, as a whole, that's one of the biggest complaints is, not only are these people here and they're taking away the face of our country, they are then in turn, we're paying for it. And we barely have enough money. There was a guy talking about how much something he pays had just increased exponentially over the last 4 or 5 years. And it's a direct tie to that's where the UK government is getting the money to pay for all of this immigrant housing and basically they create the soft invasion on themselves.
yeah. And what's frustrating is these immigrants seem to be having or getting more rights than the citizens of the country.
Well, and we definitely have seen that. I mean, if you look at just the sentences that are being, when they do finally catch one of them doing something horrific, the sentence is typically community service because they didn't understand that in the culture they now live in, such activities are highly frowned upon. But if a citizen of the UK does it, they do 5 years in Blackgate. So, no.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting thing.
Yeah, and the other thing that's happening here, and it's been happening a while, is like a lot of these immigrants bring over certain cultures, and one of the cultures here is very disgusting. Is that the certain nationality will go to like a public beach or whatever, they won't use the outhouses and that. They'll basically put a tent on the beach or whatever and dig a hole, and they'll just poop or whatever in this hole, and then they'll just bury it, or and it's becoming a very concerning thing. And every time, like, if say the bylaw officers approach these people, and that it's like you said, right away they cry racism. Why? But we have laws and that, like, and a lot of people are outcrying with that, and it's going to happen here where people like in Europe and that are going to get so damn frustrated and fed up that they will start to retaliate. And it's almost like the government knows that that's going to happen, and that's what they want, because then they can implement certain criterias, to shut down or arrest. It seems like it's all part of a certain agenda. You see it in Europe and in Spain, and now in having issues in that too with so like it just seems like they're all reading out of the same playbook.
Definitely a very strange thing, without any doubt, that we're seeing right now. It's just, and it's not one country that you can just point to and go, oh, wow, that really sucks for, this one place. If you look at it, it's basically all of the Western countries. Yeah.
And like on the international news, I guess I've been following a lot of stuff that's been happening in the States with the Harris and Trump and that. And like, is literally like, Harris hasn't done any interviews, or like she seems to be humming and hawing about doing can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah.
Okay, it seems like she's humming and hawing about avoiding about doing like debates and all that. And to me, that is like a red flag to me, because that's along the same lines as Biden. When he was running, he hardly did anything, and look how he won the election. So like, it's almost like she's not doing much because she knows that somehow they're going to try and fix the election, which is very disturbing. And like, I saw a couple clips of some stuff like on TikTok, and I don't know how it is true, that I think it was a congressman or something came out and said there's no damn way that Trump will make it as president, because if he wins, they're going to initiate something called the Civil War Act or something underneath the 14th Amendment.
I was gonna get into that later on in the show. Absolutely.
Yeah, very good on that international correspondent there. It's that's becoming a real thing, which basically the short version of that is Trump wins the presidency, which I don't think is going to happen just because voter laws have not changed. Yeah. But the idea is he does win, but then they refuse to confirm him as president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, wouldn't that be considered? I don't know much about the laws and all that in the States, but if they try and do that, wouldn't that be considered like a coup or insurrection or treason?
All three of those words could fit. The only problem is it won't be considered that because they're the ones doing it.
Right. As long as it's the left doing it, then it can't be any of those things. Yeah. Because that's just how they roll.
And I also heard, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, Taffy Gifford or whatever.
Yes, Tulsi Gifford.
Tulsi Gifford.
Yeah. But apparently, the Biden administration has put her on a no-fly list or something like that.
She somehow ended up on a terrorist watch list. Now, she has become... Here's the deal with her. She was a hardcore lefty. And then magically, she's like seen the light or some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of people who really like her. I am not one of them because I think she's a plant. Yeah. I think that's really cool that you've decided not to be a leftist, but now it's time for you to leave politics for a while and go contemplate your change of party and make sure that that's actually who you are. Which is why when when there was pundits, pushing, oh, well, maybe Trump will pick Tulsi Gabbard as his VP, I was like, absolutely not.
No.
There's no way.
I think he's picked the perfect person to be vice president, his vice president.
I like Vance. I think he's funny.
He's certainly energetic.
And the part where he doesn't mind poking fun at either of the other two is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I see they're trying to fight that back by saying that he went over to Iraq, but he wasn't in any battles because he's like a media
right.
And that, but that. As far as I'm concerned, even though you're media, you're still trained to fight and and that's.
I mean, let's be honest. He was in the Marine Corps. They train their cooks to fight if they're not cooking. So, yeah.
The things they can do with those knives, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Phil.
And the other,
go ahead, buddy.
The other thing is like Harris is just basically saying right out in her speeches that they have a woke agenda too.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And it's interesting that in the way that Biden attempted to hide his wokeness, Harris embraces it and really pushes for those, those outlying fringe radical groups that jump on that bandwagon of extreme leftism, and she's not afraid to talk about it at all, which I think actually may make her far more dangerous than Biden ever was.
Yeah.
Big time.
That's about all I got.
All right. Well, tell people how they can find the coolest crystal jewelry in the world, man.
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook at Original Crowfeather Healing Crystal Jewelry. I have pictures and videos there of the products that I have made. You could reach out to me on Messenger, and I'll get back to you. Just say, just let me know that, you're reaching out because you're interested in my stuff, and I'll get back to you. And also you can find me on Instagram at Chief Crowfeather. And you can also
very cool.
Could also find me down where you are at Country State Design and Common Grounds.
That is very correct. Of course, Phil, we thank you each and every week for joining us. If you want to find out some info, reach out to Phil Mallon. You can find him. He is our international correspondent, and he will send you some serious amounts of news that you have no idea is even going on. Phil, we thank you, buddy. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
All right, take care, you all. You have a great weekend, too, and a great week, and stay grounded.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
Yeah, bye.
All right. Bill Mallon, our Canadian correspondent there.
Definitely.
Now I can take those out. I actually enjoy those a lot more than I do getting my ears covered with those headphones.
Yeah, you do.
Except I got to scratch my ears afterwards. The itch.
Yeah, that's...
Something we haven't done for a while is go and check out some of the news that's being reported from other agencies. And I thought it'd be interesting from the Jerusalem Post.
All right.
We haven't done that for a while. Iran decided to attack Israel. That's what Foreign Minister Katz said. And they plan to attack Israel on Tisha B'Av, which is the Jewish Day of Disaster.
Oh.
So Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran. Biden apparently scolded Netanyahu on the hostage deal talk. Told him to stop BSing him. Okay. And an Israeli hacker group is taking responsibility for a reported collapse of Wi-Fi. Well, those are the top 5 stories right now from the Jerusalem Post.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like there's still a lot going on there, certainly.
There's a survey that shows that Israelis are desperately want unity. between different sectors of the Israeli society is what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Okay, not. Let's see what else. I guess Israelis are seeking or receiving threatening text messages. 46% of Israelis fear an internal civil war.
Oh boy.
Politicians are being raided by acts of division. Gee, what does that sound like? So there's that. See if there's anything new in the archaeology news.
Yeah, it's been
Some 5th century Persian gold coins were found in Turkey.
That's pretty cool.
Wow, Persian gold in Turkey? Imagine that. There's a newly discovered biblical moat in Jerusalem. Kind of reveals some ancient fortifications. It's a 3,500-year-old trench was found in the city of David, reveals the city's northern fortification, and it resolved a 150-year-old debate.
Wow.
Yeah. Proof of ancient Jewish settlement in Israel. A newly updated website provided proof of Jewish settlement in Israel from the biblical period onward. So for those of you who say Jews weren't there and it's not their land,
it looks as though you are wrong, my friend.
bite it. Especially those on the anyways. Let's see. 3,800-year-old scarlet textile was unveiled in the Judean desert.
Cool.
It was alongside royal blue and purple. It was revered in the ancient world for its rarity and expense. If you remember, that's why blue and purple was considered royal colors, because they were expensive and only the royals could afford them.
Interesting.
What color are the Kansas City Royals? I was just curious. Okay. So apparently a kid discovered an 1,800-year-old ring engraved with the goddess Athena on Mount Carmel.
Wow.
It was examined. The artifact was examined with the assistance of this professor, Shua Amorai Stark, an expert on ancient rings and amulets from the Kai, I don't know how you pronounce that, academic college. But it's an 1,800-year-old ring engraved with the goddess Athena.
That's pretty cool.
I like that. Athena being Greek, of course.
Yes.
In Peru, some remains of wealthy pre-Inca people.
Ooh.
Pre-Inca.
That's cool.
In the ancient capital. The remains of 11 individuals, estimated to be around 800 years old, were found buried with necklaces, earrings, and bracelets, according to this archaeologist over there, Cynthia Cueva.
Wow.
Apparently there's a newly discovered link between Hercules and Israel, suggests cultural exchange in that region. So an 2,800-year-old stamp in Tel Hazor connects Hercules to northern Israel.
Okay.
Now, if you look at historically, northern Israel is the original House of David.
Mm.
Okay, southern Israel came in. I mean, they were Israel. I mean, they were Jewish, but they weren't part of the House of David at first.
Okay.
This was depicting a hero battling a 7-headed serpent. The trials.
Oh, that would be the Hydra.
Hercules, right?
Yeah.
Reflecting Levantine visual culture and myth transmission complexities. That's pretty cool. 2,800 years old.
That's pretty cool.
I like this. This is good. Let's see. Ooh, another ancient Greek shipwreck.
Those are cool.
Let's see. Roman era ship has yielded a wealth of artifacts over the years, including bronze and marble statues, human remains, and the famous Antikythera mechanism. Remember that? It's the whole geared thing.
Yeah.
They claim is the first computer, I guess.
Yeah.
Although they still haven't figured out what it did. But very interesting, though. That's pretty crazy.
It opens a portal through time.
Opens a portal in time where you may travel and do absolutely nothing because your name is Joe Biden.
That was fantastic.
Okay. Sometimes I go off on tirade. I don't apologize. Forget it.
No, you didn't.
I follow Joe Biden's Facebook page because it's hilarious. First of all, we're supposed to believe that this is Joe talking on here, but it makes too much sense for it to be Joe.
Yeah.
And by sense, I mean it's structured. And it's husband, father, veteran, teacher, coach, congressman, governor of Minnesota. And with your vote, we will make Tim Walz our next vice president. I'm excited to cheer this team on.
He thinks he's cheering for ice cream.
Well, he thinks Kamala's president.
Fair.
There was something I saw the other day. Oh, the first major decision a party nominee makes in their choice for vice president. And Kamala Harris has made a great decision in choosing Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate.
What?
I've known Tim Walz for nearly 2 decades. First, during his time in Congress and as a governor. A husband and father, he's been a school teacher and a high school football coach. He served for 24 years in the Army National Guard and became the highest ranking enlisted soldier to ever serve in Congress. As governor, he's been a strong, principled, and effective leader. The Harris-Walz ticket will be a powerful voice for working people and America's great middle class. Are you not the party that destroys the middle class? Is that... okay. Anyhow, they will be the strongest defenders of our personal freedoms by taking away your First Amendment and Second Amendment rights. I added that. And democracy. And democracy. And they will ensure that America continues to lead the world and play its role as the indispensable nation.
What?
Uh-huh. It's time for all Democrats, and indeed all Americans, committed to freedom, democracy. There's that word again. I don't think that word means what they think it means.
I don't think it does either.
Okay. American leadership in the world to rally behind the Harris-Walz ticket. Every generation of Americans faces a moment where they are asked to defend American democracy. That moment is now. That moment is now. How's that? What a tool bag.
Pretty much. Wow.
So apparently over the past 3 years, Kamala and Biden have canceled student debt for nearly 5 million Americans so far, provided the largest increase to the maximum Pell Grant in over a decade, fixed income-driven repayment, held colleges accountable for taking advantage of students and families. This is significant progress. Held colleges accountable for taking advantage of students and families.
No, y'all were stupid.
I don't understand what that means. How? Like, what are you, excuse me, what are you claiming here?
I have nothing.
Oh, goodness.
Other than I don't get it. Making 0 sense. White House press releases.
From implementing term limits to a mandatory code of ethics and more, it's time to reform the Supreme Court to preserve the system of checks and balances that are vital to our, there's that word again, democracy.
Whoa.
I look forward to working with Congress to implement these necessary reforms. I agree with term limits, but I don't think term limits should be applied to the Supreme Court. I do think they should be applied to Congress.
You wouldn't have the problem with radical judges if the Congress did their job.
Agreed.
Because it doesn't take a lot to impeach a Supreme Court justice or remove them. So
if Congress did their job, then the Supreme Court wouldn't have to go through and overturn a bunch of stuff and do a lot of unnecessary garbage.
Exactly.
What was it that Gallagher said? You couldn't get the 10 Commandments passed through Congress if Moses was buying drinks.
Yeah, fair. So on Fox News has an interesting breaking story. UK police commissioner threatens to extradite and jail U.S. citizens in the United States who post racist things online relating to the UK. He says, and I quote, "We will come after you."
Oh, so you're going to extradite me from my country to yours?
The first comment on the post is, y'all remember we're armed, right?
You're going to extradite me from my country to your country.
Yeah.
Hey, I need a vacation. Come and get me.
Please.
Because I've had enough of this hootenanny.
Yeah, I figured you'd like that.
Oh, I just don't. I don't get it. I just don't get it. The left and the right have completely lost their minds.
Pretty much.
What else you got?
Man, I'll tell you what, Twitter really hates Walds.
I've noticed that there's a lot of social media that hates walls. It's not a...
we have, from the White House's Twitter feed, "It's time," with the large orange and white post that says to ban assault weapons.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
So we got that going. If you ever need a good laugh, just go read the comment section on a lot of these.
Kamala said, "When I am president, it will be my day one priority to fight to bring down prices. I will take on the big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging."
That is 100% solidly out of Rules for Radicals. And in turn, the Communist Manifesto, because the idea is to blame high inflation on the companies, so that way you can seize control of the companies.
I will take on corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families. I will take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. Woman, you are working for the party that made it that way. You were working for the party where half of them own stock in pharma and made millions off of COVID.
Yes.
So a user shot back at her when she said this. What has she been doing for the last 3.5 years? You mean when you've been in office and you've done nothing?
That's a pretty good question.
Inflation at the same point in presidency times. Let's take a look at something here, okay? During Trump, 0% inflation on energy. During Biden, 38.8%. Gasoline, negative 2%. Under Biden, 47.8%. And it just goes on and on. Electricity, natural gas was down, was negative 1.9%, up to 26.9% with Biden. Eggs, milk, chicken. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You're going to do what when you're in power? You're already in power. You've done absolutely nothing. Why wait until you're president to make it happen? Why aren't you fighting for that now? Oh, I know why. Because it's nothing but a campaign promise that you don't intend to fulfill.
Nor can you fulfill.
And somebody comes up and says, well, what did Trump ever do? He did damn near everything he promised he was going to do. His entire platform.
That's crazy. Like, most of the things that she talks about are things that are powers not herein.
Granted.
They're physically not possible for you to do.
Right. You don't have that power.
No. Now, do you want to bring cost of goods down? Yeah, you can sort of do it by way of doing away with mandates that force companies to go super green.
Okay.
But that falls back on your party anyway.
Well, sure, because that's a lot of stuff. This green stuff is a lot of stuff that passed through Congress and the Senate.
Correct.
Which, oh, by the way, it was your party that voted for.
Right.
Along with the rhinos.
Yeah. Like, there's some aspects of it that if you just know any basic thing about government, you go, that's not something you can do. It's just not real. And I get why you're trying to perpetuate the idea that is within your power, but it is not.
Well, that's because they've become far too comfortable with executive orders.
Well, it's because, and I know I've said it before and people get tired of hearing it, we don't elect a president every 4 years. We elect an emperor.
In a lot of ways. You are absolutely correct.
Because
But is it really... Okay, and I understand what you're saying.
No, go ahead.
But is it really an emperor if it's him that's actually controlled?
Not really. Not really.
Your sentiment is correct.
Yes.
I understand exactly what you're saying. But we've come to find out that person is just a puppet anyways.
Yeah.
So Biden is just a puppet. Kamala is going to be just a puppet. Who's pulling the strings? Everybody goes, oh, it's Soros. No, it's not Soros. Soros is part of that line. There is a group. There has to be.
Yes. If you want to do just a little tiny speck of digging into just a little bit of background research, we can take you all the way back and go look at two organizations that theoretically were supposed to be working together, but they weren't. And that two organizations, if we really want to go far back, let's do it. You know who they are. The Templar Knights and the Catholic Church. Theoretically, they play on the same team, right? Wrong. Just start digging into the conspiracy.
I'm not getting into that because I think that's an old world thing that just doesn't exist anymore.
I don't think that the old world is nearly as detached as a lot of people believe
but
it
what
is.
it is I think it's been reincarnated.
Yes.
But it's reincarnated because you have to talk about things like the Rothschilds, the Trilateral Commission, and things like this that are nothing to do with the Templars or the Catholic Church.
Correct.
Because if it were true what you're saying, then the Catholic Church would not be failing right now, and they would not be in the condition that they're in.
No, because they are trying so desperately to get new members. That's why you have the Red Pope.
Right.
Which,
correct.
Gateway Pundit does a pretty good job at ripping him up on a regular basis, which I thoroughly enjoy. Because basically they've taken any even long-held doctrinal beliefs and thrown them out the window to try to get new members, which typically isn't how you get new members. But whatever. It's interesting just to dig into. If you feel bored at night while you're sitting by yourself, please don't tell us about it. We've already gone down this path.
Dude, we've been down so many paths. We can trace this all the way into Greek and in the original Senate. And
yeah.
I mean, we can go way back to... okay, here's one for you. If you really want to take it all the way back, let's take it to the beginning, shall we? Let's call it what it was. The Brotherhood of the Snake. Let's go to the beginning.
All right, we're at the beginning now.
Boom. There you go. Now, I'm not going to tell you the story, but why don't you go do the research yourself? And then you could trace that whole line all the way to the present.
Yes, you can.
Plain and simple. So,
how about that?
And when I say Brotherhood of the Snake, I'm talking Sumerian.
Enjoy.
Now, follow that rabbit hole and tell me where it leads you. info@travelingeastproductions.com. I'd love to hear from you.
Oh, definitely we would.
There you go. I thought I'd just throw a kink in their whole armor. You good with that?
You just drilled a hole through their armor.
So,
fantastic.
We've had discussions, deep, dark discussions on philosophy and history and all of that stuff. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to send our friends over there off to a little break. I'm going to do that real quick.
Okay.
Let them do their little 30, and we'll be right back with them at KYRO. Okay, they're off doing their thing.
Okay, good for them.
Yeah, good for them. We'll come back with them in a few minutes. And
oh, that's funny.
Okay, I guess it's back. It's past. Anyways.
All right.
So on and so forth.
Nice. Hey, I want everybody to make sure you come down and see me today. I am hanging out, of course, at Black Flag Outfitters, where I always am. I've got some really cool 5.7 pistols down there. I've got some bullpup shotguns. I've got ARs, AR pistols, all kinds of really cool stuff. So I want you to come down and come find yourself something before Kamala bans it all. And come see what you need today. It'll be a very fun idea, and you'll definitely enjoy it. You can go across the street, check out the farmer's market. That's going to be a great time.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and I saw baked stuff as I drove by.
I like baked stuff.
I like baked stuff, too. I love homemade bread. It makes me incredibly happy. Probably more happy than I should be. So, yeah, we're gonna go down there. If you're out and doing other kinds of fun stuff today, then take some time and enjoy this fantastic day we have.
Beautiful.
78 degrees in August.
Beautiful.
And trust me, it's not going to last, because next week it's going to be back in the cooking temperatures again.
I'll give you that.
But for this week, enjoy the weekend. It's going to be really nice and fun, and you can do some cool stuff. If you have got a home, a car, a business, whatever, then I would encourage you to check out our friends over at Safe Harbor Insurance, Winfield. You can find them on Facebook at Safe Harbor Insurance, Winfield, and tell them what you'd like to insure. Show them the policy you already have and see what they can do for you. They don't just use one insurance provider. They are brokers, so they have access to over 20 different companies, and they can find something that suits your budget and suits your needs. I insure everything I have with them, so give them a try. Safe Harbor Insurance, Winfield. Find them on Facebook, send them a message.
Absolutely.
Because that's the fun that we like to have. Now let's take a little peek here. Let's see what else we got going on, because I'm gonna see who we can bash this morning. Let's see. Well, apparently Trump had a rally in Montana this last week. Representative Ronnie Jackson wrecks swamp hippopotamus John Tester's career with brutal speech at Montana's Trump rally. If you're referring to somebody as a swamp hippopotamus, I have got to see what this article is, because you know it's going to be fantastic. On Friday night, President Donald Trump held another packed rally, this time in Bozeman, Montana. The crowd lined up for hours to see the president in this important western state. During his speech, President Trump brought up on stage his former doctor and Texas representative, Ronnie Jackson. Jackson told the crowd he had been waiting to get to Montana to deliver his speech, exposing the swamp hippopotamus, Democrat John Tesser. Years ago, John Tesser was behind a political campaign to smear and destroy Romney Jackson after he was nominated to lead Veterans Affairs under the Trump administration. Tesser lied about Jackson and forced him to withdraw his nomination. On Friday, Representative Ronnie Jackson went off on the swamp hippopotamus at the Trump rally. Jackson had been waiting for this day. From Representative Jackson, "You can't fix what's broken. This man is sleazy, disgusting, swamp politician. He's a fraud and he's a liar. I was in the Navy for 25 years, and for 25 years I was on active duty serving my country. I was an emergency medicine physician, and I went to Iraq with the United States Marine Corps to do surgical shock trauma platoon on the battlefield between Fallujah and Ramana. I spent the last 14 years of my career in the Navy on active duty at the White House, serving 3 presidential administrations and taking care of 3 presidents, including the best president. Come on, load. The best president this country has had, Donald Trump." Well, that, looks like he swamp hippopotamus. What a fantastic term. I guess that's a new creature in the swamp?
Yeah.
So, just as a little bit of levity for your day, buddy.
Oh, boy.
So there is a fantastic video out there on YouTube by a guy called the Fat Electrician. Okay?
What?
His handle is the Fat Electrician, and he does historic stories.
Okay.
Okay? Really off-the-wall crazy ones. Lots of, Army nuclear test stories from the 50s. Really cool stuff. He was a National Guard medic, and he's just a funny dude. He's a big guy, all tatted up, and he tells these fantastic stories. Have you ever heard about the cocaine hippos?
Yes.
Dude, I was dying listening to this story. So,
good.
Dude, what's that guy's name? Pablo Escobar. He had a zoo. And when Pablo finally got nailed, nobody really knew what to do with the zoo. So they didn't really do anything with it. Well, he had 4 hippos, 3 females and a male. They got out and got in a river. Now there's like 600 hippos in that river. And because it's so much different there than where hippos are naturally from, basically they're killing everything in the river.
Right.
Because the water doesn't flow like it normally does. So
Right.
it's just they're like living in a nasty swamp they created. Now the problem with these hippos are, this is where they have no natural predator. None. And they're hyper aggressive because they're hippos. And they were going to offer big game hunts on them. They are not native to South America, and they're actually destroying the river. So it makes sense, right? You could make a crap load of money doing managed hippo hunts.
Sure.
People would totally pay $10,000 to come shoot a hippo. It's a real thing. So, because reasonably they're not protected in their native country, but they're somewhat protected. In South America, they are a nuisance species like an Asian carp is.
Mm-hmm.
Some stupid American judge got involved in it and blocked it and declared that they are a different species of hippo.
Oh, my gosh.
So they are protected because there's only 250 of them in the world. It is a fantastic story. Yeah, they're the same hippo. They're not a different species.
Wow.
They just live on a different continent.
Just
And they've only been there like 30 years, so they haven't like changed because of environment. They're the same freaking hippo.
just wow.
Yeah. I mean, imagine you're just rolling along in a South American river and all of a sudden you run into a 5,000-pound murder cow.
Have you seen the footage of those things attacking boats and stuff?
They are wicked. I mean, I'm not saying I'd pay $10,000 to go hunt a hippo.
But I'm not saying I wouldn't.
Exactly. This is the one time that you hunt something with a 50 BMG. And you're not wrong. Because people look at you weird when you shoot a deer with a 50. I don't know why.
Yeah, and there's nothing that can take down. It would take a whole school of alligators, crocodiles to take one down, and and it's not going to happen.
And if you ever watch them grab an alligator or crocodile,
Dude, they
it's
rip 'em.
one bite and they're done. Even a 500 or 800 pound.
Can you imagine the crush weight,
Yeah,
the pressure on the jaws of a hippo?
right. Not to mention they've got those giant monster tusks. Pass. Absolute pass. Anyway, if you're bored and you're out and about, go to YouTube and go watch The Fat Electrician and check out Cocaine Hippos. It is fantastic.
I'll have to look that up.
It's a really fun story.
I'm having a hilarious time just watching TikToks right now because there's a lot of lives that are going on. And why are you voting for Trump? Why are you voting for... I'm with her kind of videos, you know? And it's hilarious to sit there and listen to these punk-ass little lefties who really absolutely know nothing about life, nothing about economics, nothing about anything.
No.
And they're trying to spew garbage out of their mouths, and they're pretending that they're so smart and educated, and their followers are just taking in every single word of nonsense.
Well, there was an it's funny you mention that because there was an article out relating to a fairly famous TikToker. He's got millions of followers. And he's black. He was contacted by the Harris administration because, you know, they've been paying a lot of these influencers to push their...
Yes.
And he told them, absolutely not. No, I want nothing to do with it. Politics isn't my thing. I'm not for either side in this. I'm not talking about it. So then Harris sent the Secret Service to his house to attempt to convince him that they needed to talk about her.
Oh.
Now he's talking about Trump.
Okay. So he's talking about it.
Yeah, he was going to stay neutral. It had the opposite effect because you pushed
You may have pushed a lefty to the right. Who knows? Or
yeah.
at least a moderate.
Yeah, you took a moderate and you sent your Gestapo to his house, and now he's like, no, we're done. Now we're going to talk about Trump.
Okay.
Like the tactics that the left is attempting are not working nearly as well. I do very much enjoy trolling some of those lives. I have a good time with it when they're like, oh, everybody put up the blue heart. Show us who you're voting for. I drop like 50 red hearts in there. And they lose their minds.
I'm having a hilarious time there's a guy who's running around raiding food.
Yeah.
And he's over in St. Louis because people are bragging about St. Louis barbecue.
Ew.
Right? So he's over here trying all these barbecue places, and they're telling him, oh, it's better than Texas barbecue. Well, first of all, bull crap.
Agreed.
Because Texas barbecue is top notch. Total period. I don't care what part of the country you're in. Texas.
It's unique, but it's very, very good.
So he's going around checking out all these barbecue places. And all he comes up with is, this macaroni is nasty. And most of it is the bark has no flavor. Like it's smoked. It's got smoky flavor, but there's no seasoning in the bark. Mm-hmm. There's no seasoning in the mac and cheese. There's no, just mostly it's all about there's no flavor. And I agree with him 100%.
Yes, I would solidly agree with that.
Because the only place that I can actually handle barbecue wise here, like in this area, is Duke's.
It's very good.
That's the only one. I'll chow down a burger and some chicken over at here in Winfield. Sticky's, I will never go to.
No.
I don't consider the other one over in Troy barbecue really, but it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it is.
It's cookout food.
But he also doesn't claim to be anything that he's not. So
no.
There is that.
You want a decent price burger and brat? That's the place to go get it, and it's fine.
Real quick, thank you again to our sponsors.
Definitely.
Safe Harbor Insurance in Winfield. World League Wrestling in Troy. Doors open at 6. Bell time is at 7 tonight. You don't want to miss that. Crowfeather Healing Crystal Jewelry. Elliott Flooring. Black Flag Outfitters. Blue Line Lawn Care. Pickle on the Run. Thanks for everything, folks. It's been a fun day. Get out there and enjoy the world. Let people know that just let people know something. I don't know. Check on your neighbors. It's getting even in this weather. They need it, especially the older ones. Stay awake, not woke. I'm CT. He is Dodd. This has been Morning Java, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good week.